Welcome to the McKinley Diaries, 21 years on, with myself, Nigel Vardy, and we are on day 6, the 5th of May, 1999. The morning sun lit the tent and opened my eyes with its burn. Soft snow was falling outside, and I rushed to dress before I was quickly dusted. Again, as I've said before, any time you touch the tent, dusty snow and ice fell straight down. My boots, however, were frozen solid with yesterday's sweat and almost impossible to put on. And this is a lesson you learn very quickly, that you take your inners out, your plastic boots, and you sleep with them. It's the only way to keep them in anything like malleable, but also you do tend to sweat in them very badly, and this can be a real danger. Outside, the West Rib was silhouetted in the sun and looked an absolutely frightening sight indeed. Well, there it is. That's the challenge. It seems we're all very, very cold though, and we're running around camp desperately trying to warm up. And we took the decision, even though it was snowing, to go back to Camp 1, pick that cache up that we laid yesterday, and bring that back to our tents that evening. Even though we'd not got tents to strike and camp to pack and sledges to organise, we still didn't get off till midday. And we really do have to get this organising sorted out, and I've put a lot of exclamation marks after that. We headed back on the trail we'd made the day before, and even though it had got heavy powder snow on it, we got back down to Camp 1 in an hour. It had taken us 7 to get up. But we were the first people up the Kahiltna NE Fork in years, and there are no footprints, paths, markers. You pick your own route. We found the wand near the camp, and sure enough, there was our flag in the distance, and there were 1 or 2 other tents as well in the area, and we finally met again the American team who were following us up, and they'd camped next to our wand and were very, very well dug in. It seems we had a good old conversation with them about the routes. They were looking at the West Rib as well, and they say there were other tents there, but all were empty, so I can only assume people had camped at Camp 1, and they were off up the Washburn route running gear and equipment up. Of course, we're all now worried about weight, and I've written down here, what can I dump? What can I get rid of that I really, really don't need to carry? And so I left a zoom lens from my camera and my Sherlock Holmes reading book. I do love Sherlock Holmes. It seems rest days will have to be self-entertaining. That's how critical weight can be, a single paperback. People may think there's no weight in that. Trust me, when you're high in a mountain, there really, really is. On the way back, and we started to get all our gear together, the Americans offered us a drink, and we had a good old conversation again. They're here for 30 days. They're going to siege this thing. We're looking to be done in less than 3 weeks. Still, they're hoping to come up tomorrow towards our Camp 2, although, of course, we will be moving on. They decided to call themselves the Lucky Alpinists. And they were a good bunch of folk, actually. 1 or 2 people in there who had previously summited the mountain and just wanted to come back with some friends and do it again. We set back off for camp, waved them goodbye, and we were back in about 3 hours. I was towing all the fuel on a sled. Now, we use something called white gas, which is basically a clear petrol spirit, and it came in 1-gallon steel cans. And we got 3 or 4 of these. Now, these aren't bad on a sledge, but as we'll probably find later in the trip, they're really not entertaining in a rucksack. They're not particularly easy to pack with, and they do leak a little bit. You've got to be very, very careful of these things, but we do need the fuel. It's the only way we can cook our food and obviously boil, melt ice and snow for drinks. Anyway, by the end of getting back to camp, we were all shattered. I'm very happy to see the tents. The skies eventually did clear, showing the Kahiltna Dome in all its glory, plastered in thick snow. And McKinley, and again, the full West Rib came out of the clouds with the Cassin Ridge behind, which is a classic route on the mountain. Well, it does look pretty scary, but we're going to do this, hopefully. We ate well, we settled down. It soon got into shadow in the valley and the temperatures plummeted, and we decided bags and bed. But thankfully here, I feel a lot more confident today and hope to push on strongly tomorrow to the base of the rib. I feel in excellent health so far. The cough isn't too bad. although my suntan is coming along a little bit too quick.